back to the most professional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Football Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Work. Here with us today, Aaron. Go and say hi, Aaron.
Hi.
Alright, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Other than that, let's go ahead and get into it. So, in this video, we'll be doing something a little bit new today, where we'll be making a tier list of,
new to this channel.
this channel, not brand new. This has been done before, ladies and gentlemen. Well, maybe not in this fashion,
but very unoriginal.
Yeah, we are not an original channel. We do our best, but there's only so much stuff you can do. So we'll be making a tier list of free agents, whether we think they're going to get a big payday or they'll kind of settle with some sort of deal with either their team or a team that sought them out in free agency, or whether or not they may just get franchise tagged. And in this video, we'll be starting off with not wide receivers. We'll be starting off with quarterbacks and running backs, and then we'll be doing other videos for other position groups. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So here we got the tier list where we'll be kind of placing these quarterbacks and running backs under either maybe their team gives them a big payday, and in terms of their talent level, by the way, because obviously. What's a payday for Derrick Henry might not be the same as what's a payday for Tyrod Taylor. They may just settle with some sort of deal with their team. Maybe not exactly what they're looking for, but they're going to come back under some sort of contract. They may get franchise tagged. We'll put them right there, and then they may ultimately just walk and go join a different team in free agency. So, I guess we'll start with the quarterbacks, starting with Kirk Cousins. How do we feel about Kirko? We got this one's a toughie.
This is tough.
Yeah, this one's a tough one because I think it could really go.
I would love to see Kirk get his big payday again for Minnesota, but they're gonna have to pay Justin Jefferson.
Right.
And I don't know if they necessarily want to. I don't know if they're necessarily convinced he's the guy. So
yeah.
I think they let him walk.
I would agree. I would put him in the walk category as well. I think that he's good, but he's obviously not the future of the position there in Minnesota. He's approaching 40. They already said that they're not going to give him a fully guaranteed contract this time around, so I think ultimately Kirk Cousins looks to go play somewhere else. Where that is, I'm not sure. Maybe like in Atlanta or a Pittsburgh. I personally want Atlanta to get more of a mobile quarterback, so I would prefer him go to Pittsburgh if either of those two. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be in Minnesota next year, though, regardless of where he signs. So, moving on, we got Baker Mayfield. And remember, Aaron, this is in terms of their talent level and their situation. And with that being said, I personally think that the Bucs are going to give him what he wants. To a degree, I obviously he's not going to get like a Mahomes-esque contract or even a Burrow or any of Stafford or any of those, but he's going to get a multiple-year deal where he's going to be the quarterback for the Buccaneers for at least the next 3 seasons, I would imagine, assuming he's not dog crap terrible the next 2. And so in terms of his level, I would say that for him personally, it would be considered a big payday. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, he made that team a lot more than what I think everybody was expecting them to be this year. Led them to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. I agree. I think he gets a multi-year, sort of mid-level quarterback contract. Not like a Daniel Jones sort of thing where he's getting $40 million a year, but I'd say like, $32 million a year. I could see something like that.
Yeah. Moving on, we got third quarterback Ryan Tannehill. This one's kind of weird. He got pushed out of the starting job in Tennessee. You would assume Um, Will Levis takes over the job there this next season. Um, don't see him coming back even as a backup in Tennessee. He's probably going to back up somewhere wherever he goes. I don't think he's going to be able to start in any specific area. So I think they're going to let him walk, and then he's going to end up having to find a backup job somewhere. What do you think? Same thing?
Yeah, I think he'll go to one of those teams that, they're not necessarily sure at quarterback and maybe give him a chance to fight for the starting job, but yeah, I don't think he's back with Tennessee next year.
Yeah. Could be like a Geno Smith type
Which
thing.
we'll get to it, but they might be in full rebuild mode.
Yeah, I can't. I'm looking forward to the Tennessee video we do later this offseason because they've got a lot of routes they can take. It's just a matter of which one they decide to go down. Um, Next quarterback we'll be looking at. Let me see, who do they got on the list?
Gardner.
Gardner Minshew. Another weird case. Wasn't supposed to be the starter this past season. Ended up stepping in when Anthony Richardson went down. Um, Led the Colts almost to the playoffs. They were very competitive for the majority of the season with him under center. You'd imagine he's probably going to be a backup quarterback wherever he goes, similar to Tannehill, maybe slightly viewed slightly higher, um, just because of recency bias. So, with that being said, I think he inevitably walks just because I think he's going to be too much money for the Colts to bring back just as a backup to Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I mean, it's not like Anthony Richardson's contract is crazy.
No, I mean
He's
he's a
still on his
rookie.
contract, so they
Yeah.
could bring him back. Um, I think that money would probably be better spent somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, they got Pittman to worry about
But
this offseason, which we'll get to in a later video.
the other thing you've got to worry about is the injury concerns for Anthony Richardson. Do they think he can make it through a full season? And Gardner Minshew's proven that he can, kind of lead a team um, to almost the playoffs, and a couple things break a different way, and they're in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true. That is true.
so they've got some questions there, but yeah, I think he's kind of like the step below Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's like the journeyman, but he's not necessarily like the bridge quarterback that a team brings in.
Right. I would agree. Next we got Jameis Winston, former number one overall pick, only quarterback in NFL history to have 30 touchdown passes and 30 interceptions in one single season. Recently got LASIK surgery since turning pro, and one of the funniest guys in the league. I think he's staying in New Orleans. Not with a big payday. I think he'll. I mean, I don't think he would qualify for big payday, even if it is something that he would agree on. So I think it would fall under the settles category, just him staying in New Orleans. Serving as the backup to Derek Carr, potential, maybe even fight for the starting job. I don't know exactly how they feel about Derek Carr right now. But yeah, I think Jameis sticks around in New Orleans. What are your thoughts?
I actually think that he walks.
Okay.
And I think it's purely because of the ending to the Saints Falcons game. Would you
Ooh,
want a guy who just blatantly ignored your coach at the end of the game?
that's a good
That's not
point.
good for your locker room. I wouldn't want that on my team as a coach.
That's a good point.
So I think he's gone, and it might be purely, a political decision.
Yeah, that'd be a shame because I do like him on the uh, the Saints. I think he fits in really well there for the most part. Um, but yeah, you're probably right. At the end of the day, he's probably gone. Purely based off that decision, like you said. So, all right. So moving on to our next quarterback, we got Jacoby Brissett, backup slash also sort of starting quarterback for the Washington Commanders last year because Sam Howell wasn't great? I don't really know. Um, I guess you guess walk because they're kind of getting rid of everybody over there.
um, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird situation. I guess everybody's kind of assuming that they're gonna go quarterback.
Right.
I could see them bringing him back just kind of as like the veteran kind of guy, um, that offers some advice. He's been in the league a while, for no special contract, but that kind of leaves the question with what do they do with Howell.
Yeah. Yeah. I would assume Hal stays as the backup, and then Brissett finds a job somewhere else. So,
I could see that.
um, next we got Tyrod Taylor, another accidental starting quarterback who was the backup for Daniel Jones, and he got hurt, and you would assume would probably be a backup somewhere next year as well.
I could see him settling.
I think he stays. Yeah, I was gonna say I think he stays. He's just wanting to stick around the league and collect a couple more paychecks. So, um, next we got Tyler Huntley. We got Tyler Huntley, who I also think settles because he just seems like the
Yeah,
perfect backup quarterback for Lamar Jackson. Um,
same style of play.
yep, very similar styles of play. Next, we got Joe Flacco. Joe Cool. Super Bowl MVP, Joe Flacco. Elite quarterback, Joe Flacco.
Tag him. Tag him.
Tag him, tag him. Yeah, yeah. Pay two quarterbacks a bunch of money. Let's do it. Let's do it, Cleveland. No, he's probably gone because they can't
Um,
afford him.
I'll be surprised if he's on a team to start next season.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna put him in walk because he's probably just going to be. He's just going to wait till the playoffs roll around and somebody's like, hey, we need a quarterback. Call up Joe.
Last 5 games of the year.
Yeah. Uh, Josh Dobbs. We got Josh Dobbs. What do you think of Josh Dobbs? Pastronaut. Do you think he settles? Do you think they tag him? Do you think he gets a big payday? Because I think he's probably gone.
See, it's another weird thing where I could see he's such a smart guy and he doesn't necessarily, have all the ability in the world. I could see them keeping him around. Um, no, absolutely not. Yeah, he's gone. He's walking.
Yeah, he's probably gone. Backup quarterback somewhere else, I'm sure. But um, Carson Wentz. Another guy didn't start the season off on a team. Found a backup role for the Rams after Brett Rippon played like dog shit. Um, but he's probably similar boat as Joe Flacco, I'd imagine, where he's probably just going to start the season off unsigned.
Um, yeah, I guess they do have.
They got the oldest rookie
Um,
in NFL history, baby.
yeah, Stetson Bennett.
Stetson
Yeah,
Bennett.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
He's gone. I
yeah.
would have. I mean, I like that kind of fit for him, but
hmm
yeah, it makes sense to let him walk.
Now, Sam Darnold, who some tout as kind of possibly not really Steve Young, but if Brock Purdy's Joe Montana, then here's your Steve Young, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think he settles.
I
They
think
really like
yeah,
him over there for some reason.
yeah, I think he sticks around as the backup for Brock. And last, right, of the quarterbacks? No, we have two left, so we'll,
No.
we'll save the best one for last. Marcus Mariota. Do you think he stays as the backup for Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia? I kind of like that fit for
Uh,
him.
yeah, Yeah, I
Okay.
kind of like that.
Yep. And then Drew Lock,
I think it depends on whether or not he feels like he can still play starting caliber quarterback.
I would imagine at this point not, because he hasn't played the starting
Yeah.
position in what, like 3 years?
Well, he started last year for Atlanta.
Oh, that's right, he did. I forgot. Didn't go well.
No,
No. Drew Lock, big payday.
come on. As much as I would love to say that, um, yeah, I think he settles.
You think he sticks in Seattle? I hope he.
Yeah,
I would like to think they're grooming him to take over for Geno Smith. I don't think that's the case, but I'd like to think that.
I think he's just kind of unfortunately sort of accepted it at this point.
Yeah.
He's kind of the backup, which is fine.
Yeah.
Um, I wish he would have gotten a real opportunity somewhere, but I think as long as Seattle sticks with Geno, he's got a solid backup starting gig.
Yep. All right, well, that'll do it for the quarterbacks. So I guess we'll go into the running back territory where we are starting off with number one, Saquon Barkley, who's eligible for the franchise tag for one more year, I believe. Just coming off a 1 year deal with the Giants. Running back is kind of a hard position to evaluate as far as price goes. Um, I don't think there's going to be many running backs, if any, up here in this big payday row. Uh, I think he settles for less than he wants, but sticks with the Giants. What do you think?
I think he gets tagged again.
That's probably more likely, yeah. And we need to start filling up this row, anyways, right? So, yeah, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, we've seen it done before with like Le'Veon Bell. I believe Kareem Hunt may have got tagged twice. I could be wrong with Cleveland. Um, but it's not uncommon to see running backs get tagged, or Zeke Elliott, I'm sure, got tagged twice. Um, yeah, I mean, it's not uncommon to see. Obviously, you won't see it with Derrick Henry because he's probably gone, right? We'd probably put him in the walk category. All signs point to Tennessee hitting a full rebuild, and those rebuilding plans would not include the King, Derrick Henry, unfortunately, as he's on the wrong side of 30. And he probably needs to go ring chasing at this point in his career, in my opinion. So I have him leaving Tennessee, as most people do. Number three, we've got, is it Pollard or no? It's Josh Jacobs. We got Josh Jacobs, who, similar to Saquon Barkley, settled for a 1 year deal this past offseason with the Raiders. Didn't have a great season. It was okay, but for his, it was definitely a step back from the year before. Um, and I kind of feel like, similar to Barkley, he's probably going to get tagged again. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I think if he had a good year, he could have gotten a big payday.
Yeah, I would
As
agree.
far as running backs this year go, but
Yeah, not his best showing. Next, we got Tony Pollard, who big disappointment this year. I don't see him getting tagged. I don't think they think he's worth enough to tag him, which would also knock him out of that big payday category. It's really between whether he wants to settle for a small deal with Dallas, or if he wants to go test his value out in the free agency market. And honestly, whether or not Dallas even wants to bring him back. What are kind of your thoughts? Because I think it could really go. It's kind of 50-50. Could go either way. But I'd lean towards them keeping him if they bring on Derrick Henry as kind of like the change of pace back. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
yeah, I mean, I think Dallas, kind of gets that big market sort of favorable, gonna get a lot of endorsement deals and whatnot.
Yeah,
Um, as far as being a household name kind of player,
right.
I could see, bringing in another running back, whether that be Derrick Henry or somebody else, um, to sort of supplement him. Yeah, I think he settles.
Okay. Next we've got Austin Eckler. I really don't see him in a Chargers uniform next season. Chargers just have too many people that they've got to bring back, and I do not think Austin Eckler is even close to the top of that list. A lot of guys on the
which is
deep
stupid because he's like their entire offense.
right, but I think it's true that they're gonna let him walk. Do you think I'm wrong there, or do you kind of agree?
I think he's going to ask for too much money.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I could see that. And I mean, he does, like you said, he is kind of their entire offense, so I think that's fair for him to ask for. They just have so many pieces that they could potentially lose this offseason. I just don't see them breaking the bank on a running back nearing the age of 30. So,
Yeah.
next we had DeAndre Swift. Big disappointment for him this season for Philadelphia after coming off a pretty good year with Detroit. Um, you gotta assume that Philly looks to move on and try to find someone else for that backfield. Is that kind of what your thoughts are? Because I don't see any reason for Philadelphia to bring DeAndre Swift back. I don't think he showed enough for them to be excited about him.
Yeah. I if he does, it's going to be settles, but yeah, and I think a lot of these running backs are going to end up walking
Right.
just because
Yeah.
a lot of them are kind of, older.
Yep, yep. And we're about to get into some of these older ones, like Zach Moss, for instance, who's been, I think he's been in Buffalo. Now he's been in Indianapolis. The only reason he really got a lot of run this past season is because what's his face held out. Shoot him,
Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor held out. And then some injuries as well helped Zach Moss get a few more touches throughout the season, but not a premier back by any means. He showed he could maybe be, you know, come in for a game here and there if your running back is out for a week, given like with a concussion or something like that. But I don't see him being like a lead back, eats up the carries kind of guy. And I also don't think Indianapolis is going to have the money to bring him back when they have to worry about guys like Michael Pittman Jr. So I think he ends up walking, going somewhere else.
Yep, I agree.
AJ Dillon for the Green Bay Packers. We talked about it last week how we thought that it may be time for Green Bay to look elsewhere than Aaron Jones. I don't think AJ Dillon is the answer, as he's also kind of starting to approach the 30-year-old mark. Um, However, I think it makes sense for them to bring him back as the change of pace guy for another year or two, just to kind of fill the gaps while they maybe try to go get a Travion Henderson or something like that draft to develop. Is that kind of yeah?
Yeah, yeah. He's a solid number two guy,
Right. I don't think he's going to ask
and
for too much
just kind
money.
of yeah,
So I think
just
he's
gonna be
very
kind of be the bridge for whatever they decide to do with Aaron Jones and drafts and free agency.
right. And I think it makes sense for them cap wise as they have a bunch of, rookie second year, third year guys to where they don't have to break the bank within the next 2 years. They can afford to bring AJ Dillon in for a 2 year contract, something small. So next we got Devin Singletary. This one all depends on whether or not the Texans go out and after one of these other guys, because they've got the cap room to go after a Derrick Henry if they want to, or a Josh Jacobs if they don't get tagged. Excuse me, Jesus. Um, so I think it really comes down to whether or not the Texans try to swing big in free agency at running back, or maybe they go draft a guy and bring Singletary back to kind of dual threat it with that young guy. In my opinion, I think they should bring him back on a small deal, similar to the AJ Dillon one I just talked about. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, if they can get him back for next to nothing, that run game was not very good.
Right.
So I could see them just wanting to fully move on from him and go get someone else.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, but yeah, I think he walks. Or
Yeah,
I think they let him walk.
I don't think he's. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be. Uh, Unless he takes like you said, like a $2 million deal or something like that. I don't see him coming back for anything substantial. I'd like to see him come back and be like a dual, like a little change of pace guy with maybe a rookie or whatever. But he's definitely not a lead guy, so I could definitely see where you're coming from in the walk camp. And now we'll go ahead and do the two Ravens together since they're back to back like this, and they kind of I feel like serve similar purposes. And they're both injury prone to an extent. So we got J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, both running backs for the Baltimore Ravens, whose running game was really good with just about any running back you put back there, aside from the AFC Championship game where they just decided to not run the ball at all. So I feel like we kind of saw this season that the Ravens can take just about anybody um, and be good in the running game because you've got that element of Lamar Jackson back there. So I think they let both of these guys go and maybe try to continue to build around the passing game this offseason. What do you kind of think?
How old is Gus Edwards?
Like late 20s, I think. 27, 28.
Born in '95, so yeah, 28. Um, J.K. Dobbins, real unfortunate.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
played
that
what, like
sucks.
one full season.
If that, yeah.
Um, if they do bring anybody back, I'd bring back Gus Edwards. Um, just because they do like to have multiple.
Yeah, they
But
do.
yeah, I think they let J.K. walk.
Yeah, I think
I was real
Dobbins is
excited for
definitely
him coming out of college.
no. That's the thing is J.K. Dobbins is a super exciting player, really exciting potential. Just can't stay on the field, man, and I think that's the biggest knock against him. And I think the Ravens are just kind of like done waiting, um, so they let him go, and hopefully he sticks somewhere else and can stay healthy. But Gus Edwards is just the more consistent player, just because he's there. So.
Yeah.
Looking at this list, is there anything you kind of want to move around or? I mean, Baker Mayfield's the only one we got taking a big payday, which I mean, when you think
You
it,
know these guys are gonna get a shocking big payday, and
yeah,
we're just gonna be racking our brains like, why would you do that? But this list all makes sense to me, as it is.
yeah. Uh, if I had to pick one guy, not named Baker Mayfield because we already have him up here, that I could see getting like a stupid, no reason big payday, it's probably one of the two guys we put on tag. It's just a matter of whether or not the Giants or Raiders are stupid enough to pay big money for a running back for multiple years. Because that's been proven not to work in the NFL anymore. And if you're paying your running back $30 million a year, then you're really handcuffing yourself at other positions. So I'd be surprised, but those would probably be my top two targets if I had to pick.
I mean, I could see it being with the Raiders. I mean, their
Mm-hmm.
quarterback is going to be getting paid next to nothing, so they could afford that.
Right.
But
Yeah, I hope for the Chiefs' sake they do, because that would cripple that franchise for the next 5 years. So, but unless you got anything else, I think that'll do it for this episode of the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Circlebark Burkle, here with the ghost today, Aaron. Go and say hi. Bye, Aaron.
bye, Aaron.
All right, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Other than that, deuces.